Good morning and welcome to Judging by the Cover, where this week we are looking at this new game, Discounty. Now, it did come out a little more than a week ago from the time that this is being recorded and published, so I know I'm a little behind the curve on this one. I had some other things I was looking at in the meantime, but Discounty is a new little indie cozy game. At least it looks that way on the surface. But looking at the game and listening to the trailers, it seems to actually have a pretty unique twist as far as its narrative structure. Now, visually, it has its cute pixel aesthetic that we go for. And anybody that's been around the channel for a while, I dig the cute pixel aesthetic. Although I do like some good 3D graphics from time to time as well. I can appreciate the artistic angle on both fronts, but the colors are vibrant, the sprites and everything are clearly laid out. The art is just absolutely precious on here. But then when you get into the meat of the trailers, it becomes quickly apparent that there is something underlying the cute aesthetic where it's darker than it looks up front. It's like they're doing the whole they're doing that Madoka Magica thing where it's like, yes, it looks adorable, it's incredibly pleasant to look at, but there is some deep underlying darker themes going on, probably exploring a little bit of a capitalist lean. But basically, imagine if Stardew Valley, where you're moving into a small community and you become a central driving force of the community's economy, but this time you're not the farmer, you are Joja. That, along with, we see scenes in the trailer coming out with some pollution, shadowy figures. They tell us that people are protesting your store. So some people aren't exactly keen on your expansion, but at the same time, you're also trying to strike trade deals with the locals. We do see in there, it looks like you communicate with some of the farmers to get locally sourced products. So that's kind of cool. You set your prices, of course, all of that, like the standard shop sim stuff. But what really stands apart is that darker motif that they make in the that they give you in the trailers. Moving into our screenshots here, we can back up and take a look at what we have going on. We do see some multiple screenshots of the store because obviously, if you're going to have a shop simulator and you're not showcasing the store, you're probably doing something wrong in how you're presenting the game. So we have that going on. A lot of people here. It looks like you do have to actually man the register a little bit, kind of like in TCG Shop Simulator, or maybe eventually you hire employees to go and take care of that for you. We do see a farmer asking, "Don't you have a shop to run?" Like they seem a little hostile towards you. That probably leans into the local community not exactly being keen on your mega mart situation that you're trying to go. Discounty will serve as a beacon of hope for a better, more prosperous future. Yeah, that's even the logo here. Like I get that that's supposed to be the U of Discounty, but the shape of it also does kind of look slightly J-ish. So I'm getting that a little bit of that Joja vibe, which is kind of cool there. It feels like a kind of nod in that direction and that reference, even if it's not explicitly laid out as, oh my gosh, yeah, you're basically Joja at this point. But we do see a lot of little decorative here, some housing, the bird bath out here, trees in the front. So you probably have a little bit of control over how the front of your store is laid out. We see the prices, the little cash register with the numbers and everything. That's got to be a neat little interaction there. I heard the most scandalous thing about Elmer's date. Okay, so here's you got your community stuff where apparently, you get caught up in the community gossip. That's kind of neat. You do get some scenes out in nature, although it looks like a silo and a maybe chemical vat, if not above ground swimming pool. Although purple is kind of an unusual color for a pool, so I'm not quite clear on what this little doohickey is. But we do have some nice lake situation. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of like farming or fishing going on, considering that the store is the main focus of the game, which is fine. Not every cozy game has to be a farm simulator. Barcode placement. Oh, you choose how the barcodes are laid out on your items. That seems like an interesting little layout. So some kind of whole situation going on there for maybe how things are set. I guess it might make I wonder if it makes a difference on how like how products like how quickly they can scan across the machine or something, or if it causes other problems. Like that seems like an interesting thing to highlight, that there is a system of how barcodes are laid out on items. That seems incredibly niche. So I am wondering how exactly that translates into the gameplay. Like, what is the significance of that? The fact that they put it in one of their screenshots on the store page, like that tells me that something there is intentional. Let's see. There's Demon Child, I'm sure of it. That so maybe there's a little bit of religious fanaticism going on too with the whole store situation, which honestly wouldn't surprise me. Small town community, possibly resistant to change or advancement. So see what comes out of that. Poseidon's Galley, trade tier 2 with fishy sticks and fishy fishes. So it looks like this is one of the trade deals that you can secure, I'm guessing. I'm guessing based on just a little bit of information literacy, this seems to be probably one of the trade vendors that you can secure a deal with. And then Eason Krem's hardware, your hardware store. This is probably where you get your store shelves. You have to buy that stuff. I do see they have they have almost 8,000 gold up here. And these things, it looks like these shelving units are 1 to 3 gold, depending on which one. So, of course, it's probably you get one shelving unit for one product, so they don't want to overcharge it and kind of paywall you into stuff. So, depending on how things are laid out, you probably spend a lot more money on the actual products and everything as opposed to the shelving. We see layouts of what appears to be your stock order form from Delivery Guy. It shows price, profit, and how many you currently own. At least I'm guessing that's how many you currently own. Maybe the supplier also has a limited stock of what they can ship. That'd be an interesting little dynamic if that is the case. Otherwise, if it is the ones that you currently own, that's something else to kind of help you along. It makes the interface look incredibly easily laid out, where you can kind of clearly define what the item is, what it's going to cost you. I don't see, well, okay, it does show your money up here in the corner. So everything laid out in a way that is easy to read. And for a shop simulator like this, where you're going to be spending a lot of time in menus, easily digestible information is incredibly important to the game. Otherwise, if your menus are laid out in a confusing way that's hard to read, it can really kind of affect your experience. So it does have all of that going on. Shopkeeper, this is my stop. Little bus scene, and I'm guessing that this is your aunt that you inherit the shop from. We do see something going on here. Looks like a vending machine of some sort, but it also kind of looks like a dump. So I'm not really sure what this location is that I'm looking at. Maybe you kind of salvage stuff from a scrapyard, I'm guessing, next to the hardware store. That does look like there's some things, like maybe it's a little recycling plant or something, but it doesn't really clearly say what this area is. It just kind of looks like an interesting thing where I can see some possibilities for what this is in the screenshots. It has mostly positive reviews, and it's even showing that at the time that I am recording this, the developer is playing and broadcasting their gameplay on it so that you can, if you're on the fence about it, obviously there's going to be a lot of people trying the game. You can get some insight from the developer themselves to see if it's something that you might be interested in playing. In addition to that, I am seeing that it is in a bundle on Steam with Tiny Bookshop, which I gave a incredibly positive review on, and I've been playing myself and really been enjoying that game, which has a very cozy aesthetic, very cozy vibe to it without the dark overtone. Although if you want something with that little bit of an edge to it, discounting might also be up your alley. It is currently on sale until, well, for about another week, to get 20% off on Steam, which for a game like this, I would even say the full price, $19.99, the $20 price tag, is fair for the kind of cozy game that looks like you would get a lot of time out of. So on a discount like this, the $5 discount, or $4 discount, absolutely a fair price for it. I have noticed it is also on the Nintendo Switch. It is probably on other consoles as well. It's just that those are the systems that I have available to me. The Switch, I don't believe, has the bundle attached to it, and it doesn't have a discount on it. But it, like I said, I still believe that the $20 is a fair price on it. There is a soundtrack available, which I mean, if you like soundtracks and stuff, that'd be kind of a cool thing to get. There is already a patch out, so they are keeping up. Possibly some little fixes going on with there. So we're gonna look at the about the game. So Discounty is a narrative-driven management sim offering a 15 to 20-hour single player campaign. Okay, now that's kind of interesting that they lay it out that your cozy shop sim game has an expected time frame for it. Usually these kinds of games are sort of intended to be a perpetual thing where there might be a technical end of the game where you unlock everything, but even at that point, you can continue as far along into it as you like. Whereas, like Stardew Valley, yes, you can complete your community center within the first year if you know what you're doing. You can get perfection within like 2, 3, maybe 4 in game years, which is a lot of game time. But then they're saying that this one, 15 to 20 hours of the single player campaign. Of course, that is only the main story of it. Maybe depending on how that goes, I don't know how much end game or post game opens up or how much you just kind of perpetually run your shop after that. You probably also get an infinite amount of like, oh, how much longer would you want to just kind of go after that? But even then, a 15 to 20-hour game campaign for a $16 to $20 price tag, still an incredibly fair price, especially if it has a replay value with possible multiple endings depending on how you engage with the town, how much you speed run your shop advancement, whether you go full Joja and full expansion as fast as possible, or whether you try to be more integrated in the community to see if you can run your store to benefit the community better. And it tells us manage your own discount supermarket, get caught up in a small town drama, organize and plan your shop's layout, strike lucrative trade deals as you expand your secretive aunt's business empire. Selling more frozen fries will surely heal this broken community, right? Right? So yeah, they're really giving the wink wink nudge nudge there in the description. They are being very upfront of what the kind of attitude and tone that they want to set up here, which when I first only saw little like tiny snippets and screenshots of this, I had no idea that that's what was being sold. You step into the quirky harbor town of Blomkest, where your aunt has entrusted you with managing its only supermarket. Design and organize your shop, manage stock levels, all that standard stuff. Work the checkout and strike trade deals. The striking trade deals really sees. I see that as something a little more unique where you have multiple vendors. You don't have like a singular stock order to come from. You actually have to go and seek out and build relationship with different vendors for different products. Now, you can probably get a lot of things from a standard shipping service, but maybe there's some products that are unique to certain vendors. This is at my best guess based on this. The fact that they emphasize striking trade deals with multiple different vendors, and they show you in the screenshot you converse with a farmer, there's a fish producer that you try to make a deal with. It makes it where it's like it feels less centralized and less mechanical that way. Now, of course, being a video game, it is going to be largely mechanical, but it's the way that they go and make it where it feels more organic in that aspect. It's pretty interesting how they work that in. I'm actually interested to see how that plays out. You build relationships with the charming locals and grow your business empire while navigating community dynamics. Use every tool at your disposal to expand your business, but be mindful rapid growth might ruffle a few feathers in this tight knit community. Will you pursue endless profits or find a way to benefit everyone in Blomcast? Now, again, I keep bringing up the Stardew relationship with Joja just because that is an it's a little bit of low hanging fruit for making that comparison that I think most people would understand who enjoy games like this, where if you've played, especially if you've played with mods with expanded, whereas on the vanilla one, if you go the whole JoJo route situation, it's just, you pay for your stuff and then it just kind of sits there and exists. But then in the expanded one, they make some changes to JoJo where late game JoJo, you can actually have some events with Morris where he puts into the community, like makes actual community contributions and achievements outside of the, oh, this is just an alternative to the thing, like the whole when an election comes up in that whole storyline. So seeing it, if you have actual community engagement and maybe community improvement plans, maybe cleaning up the streets a little bit, rebuilding a little bit of beautification, but maybe in a way that also doesn't displace the locals. So depending on how all that comes out, I'd like to see. I might actually give this a go. Like I said, I believe that the price tag is an incredibly fair rate for what they are advertising, at least. As far as, if anybody has actually played it, let me know what you think as well. Your aunt has invited you to manage the local store discounting in the rundown harbor tar town of Blomkest, but beware, not everyone wants you to succeed. The fact that you have locals hostile to you in what on the surface looks like your typical cozy shop sim, that alone is enough to it has piqued my interest just seeing that. You explore Blomkest after business hours and get to know its townsfolk. Turn them into loyal patrons of Discounty and uncover the town's hidden secrets. We do see some don't mind the fine print, scandalous rumors, all sorts of little tidbits going on. And I mean, a lot of these games, they really hinge on the character dynamics and the little bit of hidden lore in your character interactions. Wow, that's a interesting little shop layout. Like you load up lots of tomato and toilet paper, but you fill it so that you can't even walk through any aisles or anything. You create eye-catching, efficient store by rearranging shelves and products, design inviting aisles for easy navigation, and add decorations to encourage purchases. As of course with any shop game, your decorations might have a little bit of a mechanical benefit. Let's see. Blomkestians don't take well to newcomers. I also got that feel from Fields of Mystria a little bit. There was one person in particular that was very anti you when you first show up into town. Most of the people are like, oh, hi, welcome, new friend. But there was one person in particular that was like, I don't trust you. Anybody that's played Fields of Mystria, you probably know exactly who I'm talking about. Gain manufacturers' trust, make trade deals, and sell local specialty goods to boost discounting profits. Again, it always comes down to the profits because when you're running a shop, you kind of need the profits so that you can expand and increase your inventory. So juggling the responsibility of a shopkeeper, keep shelf stocked, floors clean, storage room organized, ring up customers shopping promptly to keep them happy. No one likes waiting around. Yet we do even see in the trailer some customers leave with happy or angry uh, little faces popping above their head in the little speech bubbles. So depending on how that goes, they can be happy or upset. You might kind of upset some people. Maybe they don't like prices. Maybe that you took too long to get to the till. If you were trying to multitask, which that was something I struggled with in TCG Shop Simulator 2 in the early game where you're trying to stock your shelves and ring people out at the same time, it can be very hectic. Expand into an empire. As profits soar, reinvest and grow. Expand your shop to stock more goods and advertise it around town. We do see some little screenshots and video clips of, we have coolers, we have shelves of all kinds of situation. It even shows the inventory numbers 20, 14, 12, and 15. So how many things are in each display? So I'm sure if you have empty displays, it probably looks less enticing to customers. We see what looks like the list of customers that are in the building. This Anderson over here, based on the hairstyle and everything, that's probably this person walking the aisles. We do see other people. Not it does appear that not everybody is on the thing unless one of them is maybe an employee. It looks like there's a lot of movement happening on here. So being able to interpret what's going on, I'm sure once you actually play, you have your cow display with the milk, little extra things. Something with bubbles over here. Oh, that might be a spill. If that was like a drink or a soda or something, then this is just at best me guessing based on the visuals of what I'm looking at. They do a pretty good job of laying things out, and the things do look visually clear for what you can maybe guess that it means before you actually get into the mechanics of it. You even handpick your outfit, pick a name that reflects your unique style. Your ever wise aunt will always recognize you, no matter your chosen guise. Oh, so you can actually personalize on the fly. That's kind of neat. Where they emphasize like, yeah, you know what, just be whatever you want to be. Your aunt will always be able to keep track of you. So all of that going on, I would say that the whole vibe of this, I am getting very positive impressions from this. Um, the price looks fair. The description is pretty thorough, and the premise on the surface, like I said, on the surface looks like your typical cute, cozy shop simulator, but with that little bit of a darker underlying atmosphere about it, where people are actually actively hostile towards you, which that might be the biggest selling point that I see here, where, you know, you're having to actually engage with the community, try and win people over who are looking at you like this filthy outsider of the community that is trying to take over and overrun their economy. Which, if it is a broken town, as they also advertise in the store page, there's it could be a matter of these people are just resistant to change and maybe don't want the improvement, or maybe your improvements aren't actually benefiting the town as a whole and just kind of making all of their existing problems, all of their relevant problems even worse, or maybe just creating new problems, even if other problems are kind of being solved in the process. So it seems like the way it's advertised, it is making it look like they are pushing this kind of juggling act with it, which again, I think is an incredible premise. How well it plays out remains to be seen, but as far as judging this game by its cover, by its store page, I am giving the Steam store page a solid 10 out of 10 for this. It looks like they very clearly communicate what they're trying to do, what they're advertising. The visuals are the screenshots, especially like I said with the barcode screenshot, it looks like they are intentionally choosing to show things that make me wonder what exactly is the mechanic with that. And I'm sure, you know, the game will explain, or at the very least you'll be able to do some trial and error to figure things out. The information is clearly laid out. I can tell from the screenshots what what the shop layout appeals like, or what the shop layout looks like, how it looks like you manage your inventory, how you shop, how you buy inventory, how you make the trade deals. It is very clearly communicated in that. There is, however, I believe, one issue I have, but this is not with the Steam page or the game in general. It is with the Nintendo Switch store page, which again I have looked at here. The Switch store page does lack the trailers, so it's only showing you the screenshots, which, quite frankly, don't quite communicate the darker undertones the way the trailer does. So it does give you the description where a warm-ish welcome, invited to manage the store, build friendships, or make lifelong enemies. So the description on the store page does highlight the hostility of the town, but the fact that they excluded the trailers from the Nintendo Switch just kind of bugs me. So the Nintendo Switch, and this is again an issue I have with the store page, not the game itself. The game itself, I am judging as a 10 out of 10 by how it is presented across the multiple store pages, but the Switch store page, I'm going to have to bump down to a 6 because the lack of trailers makes it so that it's like you have to actually dig down into the description to find out that darker undertone. If you're looking only at the screenshots or something, or just looking for a quick trailer, it's going to not communicate as quickly and as clearly that it's like, oh, this isn't this isn't just another cute shop simulator game. The way that the trailer emphasizes this twist, even though they package it up in this cute aesthetic, it has that whole dynamic of there's something else going on. There's hostility in the town. It looks like some of the villagers are just outright hostile towards you and want nothing to do with you, which even in other cozy games, like I said, Mystria, we have the one character that's like, I don't trust you, newbie, but then he becomes one of your best friends. Same with Stardew Valley. Shane is incredibly, I wouldn't even say hostile towards you. He just doesn't like interacting with people, so he will constantly question you. So there are games where that have characters who are hostile or rude towards you, but they warm up to you, and you find out pretty quickly that they have other things going on in their lives or in their personalities, like they have their own personal issues, and you kind of sympathize with them. This one is that the way they package and present themselves is like, nah, this town does not like outsiders, especially ones that look like they might threaten their way of life. We've right there, the trailer was showing this fence is my private property. Stay away. Like, I haven't seen a cozy game where characters have been that hostile. We even see in the trailer it looks like sewage or toxic waste getting dumped into the water. Whether that is something as a result of what you do as the player, or whether it's an event of like, oh, there's some kind of disaster happening. Maybe like I need to fix this. It remains to be seen by actually playing the game. But the fact that they include that in the trailer and make it a very clear indicator of something is going on. And that is, I think, the general motif here that I am driving home with this review. 10 out of 10 on the Steam page, 6 out of 10 on the Switch page because of the lack of trailers. But overall, this game looks incredible. Even when they say a 15 to 20 hour runtime for the single player campaign, um, I am interested to see if that is just kind of a main storyline kind of thing. But even then, a 16 to $20 price tag for a game with that kind of runtime is still an incredibly fair price, especially if it looks like it has some possible replay value with doing like starting the game and doing different things as you progress through that story. And it as opposed to like now I know with other games like Mystery and Stardew, those also have a lot of replay value depending on how you go about your farm, how you do your early game, especially in one like Stardew, where you have how you want to maybe try and learn how to speed run things, get things faster, or doing community center or Joja or romancing someone different. There's so many different ways you can play the game. This one looks like they emphasize a lot in that story, and frankly, this is another one where I'm going to be keeping my eye on it. I do have a lot of other projects that I am currently working on and playing on Steam, on YouTube, but I am actually interested in this and may end up having to do this myself as well. Uh, Again, the Nintendo Switch, even though the store page doesn't sell it as well without the trailer, the fact that it is available on Switch, even at full price, I feel like this is one that I would probably favor on the Switch so that I could pick it up and take it with me and just kind of go and chill for a little bit. Although the PC price tag on Steam is also quite enticing while it's on sale, but maybe even just kind of keep an eye on it on Switch, see if it goes on sale if you think that the price tag is a little much, or if you would prefer to play on Switch, but you prefer the Steam price, then again, maybe wait for a sale. As a consumer, that is your choice to make. Just like the customers of Discounty, the customers in the game, it is their choice to make whether they want to favor it. And quite frankly, I am favoring this game. And depending on how my schedule pans out and how my other projects are handling, this might be one I pick up at full price, but I am still undecided personally. But overall, like I said, looks like an amazing game. I think Crinkle Cut Games and P Cube, it looks like they put a lot of passion and thought into not only the game itself, but how they present it and go to sell it.